Hello, hello. Today is the first day of the free Stitchalong, and today is going to be just a little introduction. We're going to set our hoops up. I'm going to tell you all the things that you need to know, and then tomorrow we're going to start stitching. So it's going to be a really easy, kind of simple day. Okay? If you've got any questions at all, pop them down in the box down here at the bottom. I'm just going to take my sweatshirt off because I'm quite warm. Yeah, pop them down here at the bottom and I will answer as I'm going. I will say though, I'm only going to answer for the free Stitchalong for this video, because after this video, I'm going to go live again and do the paid Stitchalong, which is the book. Okay, so for this one here, we're only doing this Stitchalong. All right, and that's how the videos will kind of go for each time, if you know what I mean. Okay, so every night we'll do the free one first, and then we'll do the book one after. The videos will be about, I'm aiming for like 20 minutes. So like short and sweet. I'm going to show you how to draw the shape we're going to do, and then we're going to learn a new stitch, and then we're going to be done. Do you know what I mean? So it's not going to be like a large amount of stitching every day. And I'm aiming for between 8 and 8:15. So I do have 2 children. David my husband normally takes Ellis, and then I have Miles. But he's going through a little bit of a but I want you phase. So sometimes it's like 8 o'clock, and sometimes it's a little bit later. So anytime between kind of 8 and 8:15 is kind of where I'm aiming. But yeah, let's just go through everything this evening. And then we'll just do our best, okay? That's all we're doing here. We're just doing our best. So let me explain the Stitchalong first, and then we're going to go through all the things that you'll need. And if you've got any questions, like I said, just pop them in the box at the bottom here. So for the Stitchalong, this is kind of like the sample. It's not finished yet. But I was just kind of stitching it up to make sure I could do it in the allotted time. You know, the allotted amount of time. But this is kind of the gist. In the PDF, you get 5 different bows. Okay, so we've got a small one, small but cute. We've got kind of floppy, like that. We've got a kind of perky one, right? We've got like the long and luscious, like that. And we've got like our classic bow. You can pick whichever one that you want to, or you can draw your own. It's completely up to you. All we're doing with this is we're going to trace this onto our fabric, and then we're going to use this as the basis for our whole bouquet. So every single day when you come to the Stitchalong, we're going to draw another element into our bouquet. So some days it will be like 2 big flowers. Some days it might be, this is the flower shape, but you could do 2, you could do 3, you could do 5. It's completely up to you. I would suggest having a scrap piece of paper, one, so that you can practice the shapes that we need to draw. But also, if you wanted to, you could kind of make a little composition yourself, just to make sure that you like what you're going to draw on your fabric. So that's kind of the premise of each one. I've had a couple emails that were like, oh my goodness, I only received the bows. What's going on? Like, I've got the wrong PDF. And you haven't got the wrong PDF, I promise. This is going to be like the girls in the garden video, where we all picked a girl's outline and then we drew the flowers around. And it's going to be like the teapot one, where we've drawn the teapot and stitched the teapot, and there was a couple different kinds that you could choose from, and then we draw the things coming out of the teapot or around the ladies. So there's no way that you can go wrong with this, I promise you. Some things you'll have one big one or 2 big ones. You might have 2 small ones and a side one. You might decide to do one big one in the middle and then kind of one of these on each side. So not even a full facing one, maybe just like a half one. It's completely up to you and how you do it. Yours is going to be unique to you. Okay, so you're not going to make one that looks like mine. You might choose the same colors. We're all going to draw the same kind of flower shape. But in the end, it will be done by you, which is like the best part about the Stitchalongs, I think. We've got 20 days. So we've got one day for prep, which is today. And then the last day, I always do kind of like a French knot details and like how to close up your hoop in the back kind of day. So that leaves about 17 or 18 days for stitching. So we're going to learn a different stitch for almost all of those days. Okay, so anything from satin stitch to buttonhole or blanket stitch, and we've got weaving, we've got woven wagon wheels, we've got angled satin stitch, we have split stitch, fly stitch, fern stitch, chain stitch, stem stitch, we have back stitch, straight stitch, we have the closed fly stitch. I'm just trying to rattle off what I can see already. We have a detached chain stitch. We have all kinds of different ones, and we're going to learn a different one every day. So as you can imagine, some days will be a little bit more than others. So like one day you might have to do the whole of this one flower, but another day you might just do just the stem of one of these. So in that kind of way, you can decide if you want one sticking kind of out the middle, if you want one on each side, or if you want a lot of foliage or a little bit of foliage. And you can always take it out. You can always erase it. It's completely up to you. Okay, so nothing's really ever like permanent. And there's no reason to be nervous or worried or anxious because they're all going to be amazing, I promise you. So, right, if we don't have any questions so far, I'm just going to go through kind of my little array of things. And then we'll just get started. Yeah? So after you've picked your bow, kind of keep that one to the side, whichever one that is. It could be a really small one. It could be one of the, I think I might do this one actually. Or maybe this one. It's quite fun. This like small little one there. I think I might do that one actually. Okay, so after you've picked that, put the other ones aside because you can always come back and do something with those later. And we're going to keep this one here. What you're going to need is an 8-inch hoop. The circle here is set for the inside ring of the 8-inch hoop. However, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. We're just going to cut it out to size. So kind of put it in the middle and we'll just cut around to make sure that it fits inside there. If you don't have a printer, don't worry. I will show you how to trace it in just a minute. Okay. But they're sized for an 8-inch hoop. If you want to use a smaller hoop, of course you can. If you want to do like a 7-inch or even a 6-inch, you totally can. Just make sure that you use less strands than I say as we're working, because sometimes I might say you need all 6 strands for this. But if you've got a smaller hoop, it might look a bit like thick and chunky. Think of it as like tracing over someone who's written their name in pencil with like a highlighter. You know, you've got like a really thick marker and you're like tracing over and all the lines are kind of blurring together because it's a much thicker tip than a pencil. Okay. Think of it like that. I'll go over strands and all that kind of thing tomorrow, I promise. So there's that. So I'm going to use an 8-inch one, just so you know. I probably wouldn't do like 4 inches or 5 inches. That's quite small. Maybe 6, 7, or 8 would be okay for these. As long as you adjust your strands accordingly. I'm going to use my favorite needles that I always use. I've had them for ages and ages and ages. I've got one for 6 strands, one for 3/4 strands, and one for 1 or 2 strands. You can see they all have different size eyes. Oops, this one and this one are the ones I'm talking about. The other one is over here because I'm still stitching with it. See? This one's a bit bigger than that one. So what I like to do is match the number of strands to the thickness of the shaft of my needle. And that makes so that when I have a hole in my fabric like this, you see how it's made a hole? The number of strands that go through the hole will fit comfortably through the hole and won't be moving around. So if you've got a really, really, really big, thick needle, and you make your hole and makes a really big hole through your fabric, and then you just put one little strand through, that strand is going to move around in there. So like, sorry for this, but like you've got a hole like this, yeah, and you've got one little strand, it's going to be moving around. But if you've got a smaller hole from a smaller needle and you put it through, then it's going to sit nicely in there and it's not going to move around on you. So when you go to do placements like on the outside of your satin stitch like this, they'll all lay nice in exactly where you want them, and they won't be moving around if you take off your sticky solvay, or as you go to tighten up your thread, they're not going to be like kind of smaller or bigger than you want them to. So sorry for that visual, but it's honestly like the best way I can describe it. So sorry about that. If you want to learn more about needles, I'm happy to tell you. I'm happy to send a voice note or a small video or something. That's kind of like the shortest explanation that I can. There's a DMC 1 to 5 pack, which is really, really good for this because you get a lot of different sizes. Also in my shop, I sell my favorite needle, which is a replica of my, what's it called? Antique needle. So it's this one and this one. They're very, very similar, except one's just a little bit shorter, but the eyes are the same and the thickness are the same of the shaft. So that's really great for like 4, 5, 6 strands. So yeah, try that. But I think that needles are kind of personal. I think they're kind of like you use one and then you know, like, I like it or I don't like it. It also depends on the fabric that you choose. So I'm going to talk about that next. I'm going to use in kind of organic calico kind of cotton. Like that. It's 100% cotton. Underneath of it is my favorite fabric. Again, it's white, just another white cotton fabric. I'll probably use the white one, or I might use this one again, just because the color is so nice. It's like an off-white color. But it has no stretch, so that's what we're looking for. You can go to an online fabric shop if you want to, and you can search Kona cotton. It's Kona. That's a really, really nice brand of cotton, and it's really, really nice to stitch on. It's a little bit expensive. I think it's like $12.99 or $14.99 per yard. That will be in the States. I haven't looked here in England because I tend to use the same fabric from my favorite fabric. That's what you have to look forward to. Favorite fabric shop here in Birmingham, which has not actually closed yet. They're still open. So I'm still buying fabric from them. So I just go and get this white one, just stock up on it every time I go there. So I like that one. But yeah, anything with no stretch is normally good. You can get a linen if you want to as well. I've actually cleaned my area, but I've got a linen here. You can see it's got a little bit more of an open weave to it, and you can almost see through it. You can like see my finger there. So it's a lot more open than something like this would be. You can see the difference here and here. Do you see how this one is a lot more tighter? Like the fibers are closer together for the warp and the weft. So that's the ones that are going north and south and east and west. And these ones here are much more open. Okay. So it just depends on the kind of look that you like. I think a rustic look is more like on the linen side. And the nice kind of crisp look is more of the cotton, like regular cotton. But you can use all kinds of stuff. If you haven't got much money, which I know a lot of us don't right now, which is totally fine, by the way, go into your linen cabinet, your cupboards. See if you have any 100% cotton pillowcases or flat sheets or duvet covers, something that you don't want anymore. You can always cut that up and use it. So actually one of my friends who had a very, very, very successful subscription box, she actually got started by buying flat sheets and cutting them up. And that's what she used for like 2 years. So, yeah, like great. It's just 100% cotton fabric, you know, as long as it doesn't have a stretch. We don't want to have any stretch in these. So there's that. Next, I'm going to talk about scissors. You don't need fancy scissors. Okay. Just get some scissors that are not your children's safety scissors. Okay. Just regular. These ones are actually special for embroidery. They've got like a slightly curved tip, but you can use any kind of scissors. Just make sure that they're not those really dull safety scissors that like your children have when they're like in grade school. Okay. Just regular ones. You can use kitchen scissors. Any kind of scissors are great. Just make sure that they're not the dull ones, because they will actually fray your threads when you're trying to cut them. It's going to make it hard to thread your needle. So you just need a nice sharp pair of scissors. But don't go crazy. Like some embroidery scissors are like $20, $30. Like they're so expensive, and you don't really need to do that right now. Okay. I'm trying to make it as affordable as you want it to be, or that you need it to be. Okay. Right. Next we've got pens. So what I do to trace my image onto my fabric is I use a heat erasable Pilot Friction pen. There's lots of other brands, not just the Pilot brand. I sell the animal ones in my shop. They're exactly the same thing, like this. It's got a little nub on it still because it's brand new. But they're heat erasable. Lots of people say don't use these on fabric because blah, blah, blah. Pilot says you shouldn't and all this stuff. I've used them for probably 10 years now. I have not seen anything wrong with them. I haven't had any holes from deterioration. Sometimes you'll get a small ghost line. So when you kind of blow dry it off or iron the line off, you might get a slight like sheen to where the ink is still there. I found if you get a little bit of water and just kind of rub that area with the water and then blow dry it again, it comes off. So I personally have not had any issues with it at all. They come in a lot of different thicknesses. So we've got this one's 0.5, well 0.05. Then we've got this one that's 0.07. Sorry, 0.7. And then there's also like a 10 and a 12, I think, which I assume is like 1 and 1.2 or something. They also make ones that are more like a marker. So I've got this one here. It's like it's almost like a felt tip, like a marker on the top, like that. Those are really, really nice. And then they also have ones that are called felt tips. I actually don't have any up here right now. I took them downstairs earlier. I knew I should not have done that. But no. So these ones, oh, I have one. So these ones are called colors, friction colors. And they're like the markers like that. And then we also have these ones, these are the fine liners, and they're a lot thinner. Okay. So if you kind of look on the back here, we've got like that size, but then these ones are like a lot thicker. So some people like to have like a nice thin line when they're stitching, and some people need it to be a bit thicker so that they can see it. So you might have to try and find the right one, that's for you. These ones are really thin. The 0.5, that one's sticky. You can see it right there. And this one I think doesn't have any. This one is 7. So you can kind of see the differences. There's the red, green, that black one, and that purple one. There's lots of different thicknesses. And even the 10, I think, or the 12 is like thicker than that. However, find what works best for you. There's also ones that are water erasable. And like I said, I cleared this all out the other day. And I shouldn't have, because I've basically misplaced all of my things. Honestly, though, it's fine because I don't ever use them. But there's 2 other kinds. One of them, the ink disappears in the air. So you draw it on there, and then over time, maybe 6 hours, 12 hours, it will just disappear. Okay, that one's really nice. Those are normally purple, the ones that I've seen. And then there's the water soluble ones, which means that you draw them on there and they will stay on there until you wash them off with water. So you can find which one that you like the best. You can also just use a pencil. I will say with a pencil, it's really difficult to erase it. So if you make a mistake or if you want to change something, It's not always the best way to do it. However, if you're just starting out, give it a go. Like, who cares? You know, just try your best. So there's that. There's pens. Let's talk about colors a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how I transfer my, well, I'll put the fabric in the hoop for you, and then I'll show you how I put the image onto the fabric. Okay. And then if you've got any questions, just let me know. Right. For this one, we've got, a couple different things. We've got a lot of greenery. So I would say choose between 3 and 5 greens. I like to choose a light one, a dark one, a medium one, and then one that's like a little bit yellow. And what I mean by that is like one that has like a yellow cast to it. So for example, this one and this one here would be like a regular green. And then this one here is a green with a bit of yellow in it. And it's easier to kind of see like when they're all together. Like the light's a bit weird right now. Let's see here. So we've almost got a light one, a medium one, a dark one, and then this one's the one that's got a bit of yellow in it. That one also has yet more yellow in it. Yeah, so think about when you're making green, you put yellow and blue together to make green. Some greens tend to go more blue. That one's got more blue in it. Some greens tend to go more yellow, and some are just bang in the middle. So this one right here is more bang in the middle, like an equal number of yellow and green, or yellow and blue to make green. Whereas these ones here have more yellow in them. In real life, they look more green than they do on the screen right now. So you're probably thinking, Tori, both of those are yellow. But believe me, it's got more, I'm telling you, trust me. But yeah, I like to do it kind of like that. So kind of have a light color, a medium color, a dark color, and then one that's a little bit more yellow and or one that's a little bit more blue. It tends to be, so these are kind of the ones that I've pulled out when I was doing my sample. I'll just put a bunch of them on there so you can see. Yeah, see like that one? That's got a lot more blue in it. Can you tell? I could talk about colors all day though, so I tend to try and keep it like short and sweet for this. But I would choose between 3 and 5 greens because we're going to do, as you can see in the sample, a lot of foliage around. So not only are we going to do things that are all green, but each of these things are going to have stems as well because it's a bouquet. So keep that in mind when you're picking your colors, because you want a color that matches that green. Yeah, so you want this flower color and the stem to kind of match a little bit, to kind of like go together. I promise you, it's not difficult, I promise. All right, just pick 3 to 5 and we'll mix and match here and there. Okay. And then the other thing is I would say pick your favorite colors for the flowers. So I tend to go for this kind of bluey purple. I use it a lot. You guys are probably really, really bored of it. I do use it a lot and I'm sorry. But I picked that one, and then I've got some pinks and a little orange. You also need a yellow to go in the middle if you're going to do yellow middles. You don't have to do yellow middles. You could do any color that you want for the middle that goes with the color of flower that you've got. You can do any color that you want for the bow as well. So you could do like a white bow. You could do anything like a light pink. You could even do black if you wanted, or like a really dark like navy blue would be really, really lovely. Any color that you want. Okay, there's no set color scheme. They're all going to look different because people like different kinds of flowers. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, 3 to 5 greens, a color for the bow, and then maybe 3 or 5 colors for flowers, because you can mix and match them all together. Yeah, some that you might use for just the French knots here, you might also use over here. We might also use to dot them around in different areas, and it will make it all look a bit more cohesive. So just think about that as you're going along. What colors that you like, what colors you have. This isn't one of those stitch-alongs where you need to go out and buy 27 new colors. Please do not do that. Use what you have, especially if you're just learning. If you're just learning and you want to try, give it a go. Honestly, you cannot mess up. And the worst thing that will happen is you're going to tear it out. And that's super easy. So don't worry. Okay? Right. What we're going to do now is do transferring this right here onto the fabric and picking some fabric to put in the hoop. So like I said, I like to do the 100% cotton. Let me see if I've got a little piece or if I need to get a big piece out. Looks like I need to get a big piece out. Well, that's a shame because it's absolutely ginormous. I told you, I get it like 50 meters at a time. If I can find the end. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I like to stitch on 2 pieces of fabric. I didn't always like to. I kind of want to do the other side if I'm honest, because that looks a bit creased. Let's do this one. I didn't think that was the end, but it looks like it might be. Right, and then how I measure this, you guys are all gonna laugh, but how I measure this is I just do one big circle, giving a 1.5 to 2 inches around the whole thing. Okay, perfect. I like to do a circle because the corners always get caught in my embroideries. So I tend to cut it in a circle all the way around. However, think about what you want to do with this when you're done. So if you want to make it into a pillow, if you want to make it into a tea towel or something like that, just keep an idea in your head about what you want to do with it when you're finished. Because the less fabric that you have, the more fabric that you cut off, the less you're going to be able to do with it when it's finished. Okay? And like I said, we're not going for perfection here. Okay? This is perfect. All right? We're not going for perfection, but this right here is perfect. It's fine. All right? Okay, so if you have a printer, this is what you're going to do. I tend to pick the one that's the flattest because I don't want to iron. So that's good. What you're going to do is you're going to put this here like that. You can either trace it like this, okay, like that, or you can actually put your fabric in the hoop, stretch it to how it's supposed to be, and then trace it like that. So how to put your fabric in the hoop, you're going to put it in like this, like I've just done, and we're just going to tighten it like halfway and then tighten it all the way around. And you can totally see, do you see how you can kind of see through the fabric? That's why I like to do 2 layers. I never used to. I don't know why I never used to. With dark colors, it's not so bad, but with white, it really makes a difference. And this is why I've got a screwdriver here as well, because kind of tighten it, and then we're just going to tighten it again. All the way around. And what we're looking for is like a drum-like sound. I also like to have the warp and weft, which are the fibers of my fabric. I like to have them going north and south and east and west. So I don't like to have an X like that. I like to have them lined up straight up and down. And this is what I mean by that. I'm going to show you. So if you look really closely here, this is the top. I like to have all my fibers going straight up and down and then straight side to side. I feel like that gives a really nice tightness when you pull it tight. When they are making an X like that, I find it a little bit more difficult. I don't know why, because if you just turn it like that, it would make an X. Do you know what I mean? But I just find that when I do it like this, it's really easy to make it like nice and tight, and I don't know. That's just the way I do it, okay? Okay, so after I do that, I'm going to take this right here, and we're going to cut it. These are my really good fabric scissors, so this is actually paining me a little bit to cut this down, but I cannot find my blue ones, so I'm just going to have to sharpen them later. Right, so what I like to do here, I've cut it down, yeah, line it up, and then slide it right behind like this, how you want it. I've got some blue tack here, which is absolutely minging because this is the only reason I use it for this. And you're just going to put it in a couple little places on the paper and then also on the wooden hoop part. I like to put it in 3 places, one in the middle and then one on each side. Like that. It's got all kinds of fabric in it and threads and all kinds of stuff because I just throw it in my embroidery box every single time. Okay. And then what you're going to do is use your fingers behind like this. And then you can trace it on there with your utensil of choice. Okay. If you don't have a printer, do not worry. Okay. We can do this. If you've got a iPad, if you've got a computer, that means you have a screen that is illuminated, and that's what we need. So I don't know if you knew this, but the first kind of 2 years of starting my business, I traced every single design from my iPad, from my computer screen, the actual laptop computer screen. Okay. So, great. Right, so here we go. So what you're going to do is you're going to go here all the way. This is your file that you got sent, and all this stuff is in the file. So like if you've got a question about anything, it tells you about it here. And then there's some tips and tricks here. There are materials here, and this is all the stuff that I've kind of gone over with you already. So if you ever have a question, obviously you can just watch the live back, but you could also find it here. So what you're going to do is we're just going to pretend that you don't have it printed out. Just keep pretending. Cool. Okay, so for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to make it be 100% actual size. Okay, and we're going to line this up like this, the top, right over here. Make sure our brightness is turned all the way up, and we're going to whack that right on top. I knew that was off. And you can trace it just from there, okay? If you're finding that this is moving around like that, what you're going to do is you're going to go to settings. If I can find my settings on here. You're going to go to accessibility. And you're going to go all the way down here to the bottom where it says guided access. I'm telling you how to freeze it right now. For your computer, on your computer, your computer screen shouldn't move if you touch it, but on your iPad, it will move. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So you go to guided access and you make sure that the guided access is on. I don't know if you guys can see. So you go to accessibility and you go to guided access. It's quite near the bottom. So I'll just show you again. So you go to settings, accessibility. Obviously, if you've got like a Samsung tablet or something, I don't know how to do that. I only know how to do it on mine. But go down to guide access. You want to turn it on. So you're either going to have a triple click on your top button, or if you have an older model, which I had literally until like last year when I got this one, it's going to be the button on the bottom. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to the app that you want. So whether that's a PDF, whether that's a Word document or a picture that you found, whatever it is, and you're going to go and triple click that top button or the bottom button at the bottom. Okay, so this is where you're going to make it the right size you want. So I'm just going to make sure that this is the actual size. So that's the size I want. You're going to triple click the top. Guided access is started. So let me just do it again so I can show you how to do it. I'm just going to end it. Okay, 3 there. Try Face ID again. Come on. We'll just do the passcode. It's not going to do it now, of course, because I'm trying to show someone. It's like, no. I want to end it. I don't want to do it from the beginning, you know? So you can see what I mean. Okay, normally you triple click the top. Let's see if it'll do it now that I've like exited out of everything. Oh, it's already like set my password and everything. But normally what it does is it will say, set your password. So you'll set a password, whatever it is. It's like a 4-digit number. You set your password. And then once you have it, it will have you circle the areas of the screen that you want to disable. Okay, so you can make literally like a big square and then, or a circle, and it will turn it into a square. I do my whole screen. So you can see here, the buttons at the bottom. There's like a little thing here. Let's just exit and let's see. So circle. Okay. See how it like makes it like that, and you can like make it as big or as small as you want it. Yeah. Or you can literally do the whole thing, which is what I try and do when I do it. Yeah. And you can like use these things to like make it bigger. Make it like the whole screen, the absolute whole screen. Okay. You push resume or start, and then sometimes it will make you put in your passcode again. But what it makes it do is that it doesn't actually move. So once you have your hoop size in there, and that's the size that you want it, you can go like this. Make sure that your brightness is up all the way as well. As you can go through, and you can't see it, but I can see it. If you have a dark room, you can see it better too. Like if you're in the dark, you can see it a lot better. Sorry. It works, I promise. But all the lights are making it a bit like, no. But yeah, that is the best way I found. And then it just is up to you if you like to stitch like this. Some people like to stitch this way. I personally like to stitch this way because I like to hold my hoop like this. Yeah, when I'm stitching, with the palm of my hand like that on my thumb. Yeah. And I also like to stitch with 2 layers of fabric. So what I would do is trace what I want on here, then take the fabric out and put the other piece of fabric in with it, because it just makes it nice and white like that. Do you see how it makes it like a nice bright, like opaque color? It just makes it look so like crisp. Whereas without it, you can kind of see it's like a little bit less so. So it's kind of like this and this. I don't know if you can tell so much on the video, but this one is 2 layers and this one is just 1. So, right. Have we any questions, fam? Do we have any questions at all? I'm going to give you just a minute or 2 to see if you do have any or not. No question is a stupid question, okay? I'm happy to show anything. I'm just getting a little bit excited right now because I feel like it's going to be so much fun, and I cannot wait to start stitching with you guys tomorrow. So yeah, I'm really excited. So I'm trying to like put it out as fast as I can, but also make sure that everyone has all the information. Do you know what I mean? So please let me know. So yeah, I'm going to do the book stitch along right after this. I'm not going to go over the same things I've just gone through again. Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to show you how to set up the book instead of the hoop. Does that make sense? Because then I don't have to repeat all the things like the colors and the pens and the whatever, you know, the needles and the scissors and everything else. The only thing that's going to change is going to be the fabric for the book, okay? Because we're not going to use a hoop all the time. So I'm going to show you how to set it up differently, okay? So if we have no questions, then I'm going to say, I'm going to love you and leave you, which is what I normally say at the end of my Stitchalong sessions. And yeah, I'm going to do the book Stitchalong next. So if you haven't downloaded your pattern yet, please go do that. Every day we're going to be drawing a new element into our bouquet. Everyone's is going to be unique and different, just like we all are. It sounds so cliche and a little bit silly, but it 100% hits the spot because we are all different. I'm not teaching you to be exactly like me or like mine. I'm teaching you to draw your own so that at the end of the month, you'll be proud of something that you've made. Okay? So yeah, there are a lot of other stitch-alongs that I do where it's literally like, this is the pattern, I'm giving it to you, trace it on your fabric, we're going to stitch it together. That's 100% amazing, but it's not this one. This is going to be one that you have to draw some of the elements yourself. But I'm telling you, I can teach you to do anything. So I'm telling you, I can teach you how to make flowers and a bouquet like this, okay? I promise. I promise. All right? If you can follow directions a little bit, then you can do this, okay? So please go download your bows, pick your bow out, trace it onto your fabric, and then I cannot wait to stitch with you tomorrow, all right? So good on you for doing something new if this is your first time. And if it's not, welcome back. And I love you so much for being here. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. All right? Bye.